Yeah, no, it's literally styles makes fights, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think Dubois, his style is one of my trickiest. So yeah, it gels well.
If the big elite fights come knocking, Moses will want to take them. He's capable of taking those fights and winning them.
Or he might knock him out. I don't know. But personally, at 20, you know, you got to get it right. And Frank, like I said, Frank knows what he's doing. And I think I'd be very surprised if they took that kind of test.
Moses Itauma has finally broken his silence after Daniel Dubois called him out, and his response was anything but polite. Instead of the usual reserved talk we hear from rising prospects, Itauma delivered a sharp, surgical breakdown of Dubois, exposing weaknesses in a way rarely heard from one heavyweight about another.
He boxes like he's like a middleweight. You know what I mean? Like a sort of not an amateur boxer, but an amateur style, like jab move, or like pick your shots and move. Like he ain't meant.
Itauma didn't just fire back with bravado, he dismantled Dubois piece by piece, questioning not only his style but the very foundation of his identity as a fighter. His words cut deep. He painted Dubois as a heavyweight fighting with the wrong blueprint, awkward and mechanical rather than destructive. That wasn't praise, it was condemnation. Yes, Itauma.
How are you getting on with Daniel, by the way? Do you even speak much? Like, how's it go?
You know what? I'm actually surprised. He's completely different to what he portrays, like what people think he actually is. Like, no, I was surprised. But yeah, no, training with the bar it's been good. Obviously in that high altitude in Spain as well. Yeah, I can't really ask for a better prep camp.
I think it was in that George Groves podcast, you talked about maybe your most difficult spot has been Daniel Dubois, because he's like a plodder, he moves.
Yeah, no, it's literally styles makes fights, doesn't it? Yeah. And I think Dubois, his style is one of my trickiest. So yeah, it gels well.
Itauma admitted Dubois had moments in sparring, flashes that looked promising, but the bigger picture, according to Moses, was revealing. Those moments never translated into genuine threat. Instead, Dubois came across as awkward, irritating even, but far from the dangerous force some had believed him to be. Awkwardness might unsettle.
He gets beat down, because what you saw last night with Dubois was a beat down. You know, everybody's talking about Moses Itauma, and rightly so, because he's beaten everything that's been put in front of him. You know, and he's starting to get a big reputation now. So, you know, we'll just have to wait and see where that one's concerned.
Opponents for a time, Itauma argued, but it doesn't break down elite fighters, and in his eyes, Dubois has already been figured out. Itauma insists he's cracked the puzzle, solved Dubois in the gym, discovered the blueprint to dismantle him under the lights. His core message couldn't be clearer. Dubois isn't dangerous, he's predictable. Former world champion Duke McKenzie backed that view, cutting through the noise with the blunt.
I'm just thinking about moving forward and how I can improve myself, and yeah, that was my decision. You know, I'm willing to give everything I've got left now at this stage of my career, and you know, become two-time heavyweight champion of the world. That's my goal. I'm willing to do anything to get to that.
Honesty only an ex-pro can deliver. Dubois' biggest defeats, McKenzie said, weren't unlucky slips or freak outcomes. They were brutal confirmations of a flaw too deep to ignore. Proof that he can be broken down. For McKenzie, there's no mystery left in Dubois. As Dubois sinks
problem for everybody. AJ, Usyk, Fury, it doesn't matter who they are.
Further into doubt and disappointment, attention naturally shifts to Moses Itauma, the undefeated teenager who hasn't yet faced the very top names but has built irresistible momentum. Fight after fight, Moses has blasted through opponents with ruthless consistency. His hype isn't just clever marketing, it's earned the hard way through destructive performances that make people sit up and pay attention. That's the sharp contrast. Dubois is trying to convince the public he still has something left, while Moses is proving every time out that he's only just getting started. Dubois speaks of giving everything he has left, but as observers point out, that's the problem. He's already fighting from a place of scarcity, scraping the bottom of the barrel. That's not.
He's a talented young fighter. It'll be good to see him out here. He's also half Nigerian, so it's quite
the mindset of a champion. That's survival talk. Moses, on the other hand, is fueled by abundance, youth, hunger, fearlessness, and a relentless drive to prove himself. Promoter Eddie Hearn, never shy of bold claims, has even mentioned Itauma in the same conversations as Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk, and Tyson Fury. That isn't empty hype. It's recognition of raw talent and the sense that Moses could soon be a nightmare for anyone in the division. For Dubois, though, this isn't about nightmare matchups, it's about danger to his career. Lawrence Okolie, usually measured in his words, praised Moses as a talented young fighter, a statement that carries weight.
Potentially taking yourself very far back in the box of young Moses, get beat by Moses, you go like, rebuild now, there's time to rebuild, that fight can brew and it can build, and you know, you can put an extra naught on that paycheck.
Coming from an established pro. Fighters know talent when they see it. They can also smell fear. And tellingly, Okolie did not extend the same compliments to Dubois. That silence speaks volumes. The aura around Dubois, the idea he was the future of British boxing, just isn't there anymore. His biggest nights have ended in disaster. His reputation has been chipped away with each high-profile setback. Moses, meanwhile, hasn't even scratched the surface of his potential. Inside the sport, not just among fans, the consensus is forming Itauma is the fresh danger. He's the one with the mentality and skill set to truly shake up the heavyweight landscape.
Moses Itauma, who looks absolutely extraordinary, and for me he ticks all the boxes. I like his attitude, I like his style, southpaw, hard-hitting, moves so well. He's going to be very, very difficult to sort of deter. So it's an interesting one because, is this too soon for Moses, or is this just the right fight at the...
Oliver summed it up best. He didn't sugarcoat anything. Facing Moses right now would be a disaster for Dubois. Losing to a teenage prospect on the rise wouldn't just be a setback, it would be a regression, the kind of loss that sticks to a fighter's name for years. Oliver highlighted the cruel reality: Moses is the risk and Dubois the liability. Once hailed as the future of British boxing, Dubois now finds himself fighting for relevance. The narrative has flipped. A showdown with Moses Itauma isn't an opportunity for redemption, it's a career gamble that could end everything. Momentum is everything in boxing. It shapes careers, controls narratives, and often decides who the public believes in before the first punch is even thrown. Right now, Moses Itauma has it, Daniel Dubois doesn't. And in this sport, perception can be just as decisive as performance. Adam Smith...
I think he's the future of the heavyweight division. I think he's an outstanding talent. I think he's got a good team around him, Ben Davison and Lee Wiley is the brains that study everything, and they use what we call video analysis now.
One of British boxing's most respected voices made that clear in his recent analysis. Smith doesn't hand out compliments easily, so when he says Moses Itauma ticks all the boxes, it means something. He highlighted Moses' southpaw stance, natural power, sharpness, and mentality as the complete package. The only question Smith raised wasn't about Moses, it was about Dubois. Was he even deserving of sharing a ring with a fighter so young yet already so dangerous? The reasons are obvious. Moses brings speed, precision, and composure, the exact attributes that have historically troubled Dubois under the bright lights. Fans have seen it, Smith has seen it, and fighters have seen it. Dubois has always struggled against men who stay calm, quick, and technically sharp when he tries to impose himself. Then came Tony Bellew, a man known for his blunt honesty. Bellew went a step further. He compared Moses' skill set to greatness. For Bellew, size...
Make it, yeah, sorry. I'd like to do, yeah. And we'll see, but he'll fight somebody in the top 10. And we've also got, coming...
Isn't everything in the heavyweight division. It's about balance, footwork, timing, and shot selection. And in Moses he sees those qualities in abundance. That's why Bellew believes Moses has the toolkit not just to beat Dubois but to dominate an era. By contrast, Dubois was never spoken about in those terms. At best he was praised for raw power, but few ever labeled him a complete fighter. Bellew's verdict was stark. Moses already looks more polished than Dubois ever did. That puts Frank Warren, the promoter, guiding both men in a delicate position. On one side, he promises a big step up for Moses, a top 10 opponent that will cement his status as the real deal. On the other, he keeps Dubois' name alive in the conversation, trying to preserve what's left of his relevance. But the buzz tells the story. Dubois is yesterday's headline. Moses is today's and tomorrow's. Warren is careful though. He knows timing is crucial. Push Moses too quickly, and the risk is burnout. Hold him back too long, and momentum could...
This is one of the best young fighters boxing has seen in years. And I'm not just saying that based on a result over Dillian. I hope you understand that when I look at a fighter, I'm looking at things that others don't see. I'm not looking at the hype. I'm looking at what he does in the ring, how he does it, his skill set. You know, I'm looking at that because that's the important stuff. And right now, to me, he's shown...
Stall. His tone around Moses is noticeably cautious, almost protective. That's because he knows what he has, not just a prospect but a generational talent. The truth is, once Moses dismantles a top 10 heavyweight, comparisons to Dubois will disappear completely. Dubois is already clinging to comeback narratives. Moses is sprinting forward. Respected trainer and analyst Russ Amber took the praise even further. Amber doesn't buy into hype trains. His job is to see what most fans miss: the fundamentals. And according to him, Moses is one of the most polished young heavyweights he's ever seen. Already at just 19, Moses displays ring IQ, adaptability, and composure under fire, qualities Dubois has consistently lacked. For a veteran like Amber to speak in those terms, it carries weight. And that's the difference. Dubois may have power, but power alone doesn't make champions. His biggest nights have ended in collapse because he has never shown the small but vital intangibles: poise when hurt, tactical adjustments mid-fight, the ability to think under pressure. Moses still a teenager.
Just slow it down a bit, Moses.
You know, the name of the game in promoting and managing is when you've, especially young fighters, is bringing them in and grounding them. Learn their trade, and he's doing it very, very quickly. But you got to remember where the background he come from. He never had a senior amateur bout. They were junior amateur bouts. You know, we did a deal with him when he was 16, and in that time when he was junior, he won the European Championship.
Is showing them all. Even Frank Warren, cautious as he is, admits Moses is progressing at a frightening pace. Without the deep amateur background of fighters like Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk, or even Dubois, Moses is learning on the job. Yet he's making seasoned professionals look ordinary. That's unprecedented. And it's why Warren treads so carefully. Because if this is Moses still in the learning phase, then Dubois, already a veteran of setbacks, is miles behind. Step back, and the storyline writes itself. Moses Itauma is the young lion, fearless, skilled, and charging toward the top. Dubois, meanwhile, is the wounded animal, clawing at the remains of past hype, desperate to prove he still belongs. If Moses beats Dubois, it won't just be another victory. It will be symbolic, a passing of the torch, the official arrival of a new heavyweight era. But if Dubois somehow pulls off the upset, it would be the shock of his career. It would silence critics, restore some credibility, and drag him back into contention, at least for a while. That's what makes this matchup more than a fight. It's a battle for legitimacy. Hunger versus desperation. A young phenom on the rise against a fading name trying to survive. So the question is simple. Are you backing Moses Itauma to crush Dubois and usher in a new era of heavyweights? Or do you believe Daniel Dubois has one last upset left in him to claw back relevance? Either way, this isn't just another fight. It's the defining heavyweight storyline of the moment.